Hello everybody, this is a new channel and a new online church that I just started, and it's after a lot of turmoil in my life where I've gone through a lot that most people probably won't experience. And I've been trying to figure out what the first video should be. And I know some of you are going to look at the screen right now and you're going to see someone who does not look very pastoral. Messy hair, scraggly face. Look like I just rolled out of bed because not long ago I did. And we tend to go to church in our Sunday best. We tend to trim up our hair and make ourselves look like we're not just people who live everyday life. So I've decided that for this first video, I'm going to be a mess. And the reason I'm going to be a mess is because I'm a person. My hair is not always perfect. My face is not always clean. Neither is yours. And if we look in John, we will find in John 6:37 that it says, "All that the Father gives me will come to me, and whoever comes to me I will never drive away. For I have come down from heaven not to do my will, but to do the will of him who sent me. And this is the will of him who sent me, and I shall lose none of all that he has given me, but raise them up at the last day. For my Father's will is that everyone who looks to the Son and believes in him shall have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day." Why would Jesus say that whoever comes to him he would not drive away? Does it say that he will not drive away those who look a certain way, act a certain way, talk a certain way, dress a certain way? Or does it say none? Nobody who comes to him. I walked away from the church for a long time, went off, lived a different life. But when I was younger, I used to study the Bible a lot, and I grew up in churches. I listened to the ministers, but the other thing I listened to was the way people would talk. There was a guy that went to a church I went to when I was younger. He would show up. He had no hair up here, but he had it over here. It was always messy. He liked to smoke cigarettes. He liked to swear. But he was always trying his hardest. The church loved to talk about him because the church is made of people. How many of you sit there and talk about somebody else? How many of you focus on earthly politics? How many of you focus on cheering on those who would yell at others for not being the way you think they should be? If you're going to profess to be a Christian, shouldn't you do your best to act like one? Some people have probably already stopped watching this channel. They looked, they saw this hair like this, saw all this, saw all these tattoos, and they said no. It's a judgment. None of us are better than anyone else because of how we dress, or because we can afford enough hair gel, or keep a sufficient enough razors in our house to keep our faces clean. Are we supposed to be putting on a show? Feels like that's what most of the world is doing now. They're putting on a show. They're trying to prove their righteousness through anger and hostility and trying to enforce rules and regulations against people. People who then won't dare to come as they are. People who Jesus wouldn't have turned away. But a lot of you will. There's been a lot of uproar in the world about certain groups of people who may not be well understood. But a lot of those people will never step foot anywhere near a church. They'll see somebody with a little cross necklace on, and they'll run the other way. A lot of you, if you saw me walking down the street looking like this, you probably wouldn't talk to me. If you did, it'd be to pick on me. Tell me that my hair is a mess, or that I look scraggly. But if I fix myself up, then you would let me come up to you. Then you would welcome me. Did Jesus sit around and wait for the best looking people? Or did he take the people who persecuted and, for YouTube algorithm purposes, unalived Christians? Did he take the people who gained financial income through less than appropriate activities? Again, YouTube algorithm. Gotta be careful. You're supposed to raise up your children right. But how do you do that if you're sitting at home screaming slurs about people you hate? If you're talking about how the law needs to make these people hide, wouldn't you want them visible? If somebody's struggling and they need you, and they need God, how are they going to find God if they can't be themselves and come as they are? I've even listened to pastors on this very platform saying that if certain people walked in their church, they would have them escorted out immediately. Really? If they're walking in the church, aren't they looking for something? Aren't we all looking for something? Even as Christians are looking for something. Even if we're just looking for more understanding. A little less confusion. There's no superiority to being a Christian. I don't get to hold my head higher. I don't get to look down at people. If anything, like I said, I've been out of this for a long time, but I'm returning to the calling I knew I once had. So I will occasionally not be as fancy as other pastors where I can just say, oh, this verse here, and just know where I'm going. I used to be able to do that. But I happen to know that in this book, it says the Christians are supposed to rejoice in persecution. And yet a lot of people are being misled because someone is promising them not to be persecuted. There are ministers out there shouting that we should turn this country into a place where everything seems to be illegal except Christianity. Well, how are we going to be persecuted? How are we going to find rejoicing in the persecution? Do you know you would probably be able to save more people if once they started to persecute you, you showed them love? Instead of shouting back at them just random verses that you cherry pick that come across as hostile and angry? How many people do you think you're going to save when you want to hold up signs about stoning people to death? You think that's going to make people want to approach you? Jesus wasn't approached by people because he screamed angry things. And Jesus didn't make people listen to him. Quite often when he had a sermon, he left the town and waited for people to come out of the town and find him. Because the things he was saying were so great and so powerful and so moving that people would hear it and they would go back into town and they go, you never guess what this guy's saying. It's amazing. Go listen to him. And there would be a lot of people, you know there were, who are like, I'm busy. I don't got time for that guy. Jesus didn't run back in the town and go, you better have time for me. Here's my signs that I'm holding up to scream at and browbeat you with. He sat there. And he waited. He didn't charge people. He didn't stand outside their offices in their homes. He didn't put stickers all over the back of his wagon. He didn't run around screaming, honk if you love me. And he certainly didn't throw anything in anyone's face. Even when the Pharisees tried to test him, and again, I don't remember the exact verse right now, because I'm the type, I'm not gonna rehearse. I didn't rehearse anything I'm saying today. It's gonna flow out, or there's not gonna be a video. But even the Pharisees, when they tried to test him, they're like, we got him. What's the most important thing? He knew they were testing him. Did he look at them and say, shut up, go away? You should be illegal. There should be a law against you. Did he respond by stating that we should put no other gods before our God? They're like, oh, yeah. So they tried again. Did he go, okay, that's enough. First time's cool. I'm done with you. And start yelling and screaming and calling them names? No. He answered that you should love your neighbor. Do you know that your neighbor includes everybody no matter what they look like? That homeless man sitting in the corner, in the back alley, talking to himself, with a paper bag with a bottle inside, is your neighbor. That immigrant seeking refugee status is your neighbor. That trans person is your neighbor. A gay person is your neighbor. And if you're racist, I hate to break it to you, but Black, Asian, Indian, Hispanic people, they're all your neighbor. You cannot be a proud, arrogant, superiority complex filled Christian and hate so many people that you don't want them to come as they are so you can try to help them and save them. The message is about love. But a lot of you only want the Old Testament God of wrath and fire and vengeance and cities falling. And why can't you be happy that Jesus came to change that? Do you love Jesus or don't you? Because when you walk around with shirts that just are obscenity, hate-filled messages, as I was saying to my future wife earlier, well, covering that log and pointing at everyone else's speck, trying to pretend the log isn't there, how can you call yourself a Christian? The Bible tells us that many will be saved, think that they are saved who will not be. And I strongly recommend the people in this country who try to profess themselves as Christians really start looking in that mirror. Because I'll tell you what, I wear my logs. A lot of my tattoos tell a story of a very dark time in my life. I've been asked already by a few people since turning my life around if I'm going to start covering any of these up, and the answer is no. Doesn't make me superior. It means I'm doing what I'm told. Because a Christian's not an alpha male. A Christian is the beta male who follows the true alpha and the omega. If you've lost your way today, yesterday, in the last few years, you've fallen into a habit of a lifestyle that has started to feel wrong to you, whether it be political or anything else. If you thought once that the things you were doing were Christian and righteous and good, you're starting to feel they're wrong, but you have the pressure of those around you coming down on you, telling you, no, you got to stay on this. This is how it's got to be. Better to carry the cross than to fall on your knees and then sink into the pits. Let your neighbors be mad that you're no longer wanting to follow a path of hateful rhetoric and bigotry and judgment. Let your family be upset about it. We all get lost. The ones who have the biggest problem are the ones who choose to stay lost. God bless.